Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We believe life is about how we react. All right, everybody, thanks for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. I am Kyle. That is Sean.
What up?
And today we have an awesome episode for you. But before we get into it, Sean, you were on vacation recently, Lucky Dog, and I heard you read a book or something.
Okay, you're playing dumb. Yeah, I had an incredible vacation about a month ago now, and it was amazing. I was on a cruise. If you've never been on a cruise, you should check it out. That goes for you, Kyle, and all of our listeners. They are my favorite vacation.
Nice.
Anyway, the coolest thing about a cruise is a lot of downtime when you're at sea. Sure, there's a lot of activities and different things to do on the boat, and you, of course, swim and drink and get sun and all that. Well, I went on this cruise with your book, Shifting into High Gear.
Ooh.
And I was going to read it during my downtime, so I was able to get through most of it. I think I had one chapter left at home, but I have finished your book, read it all, so today I'm doing a review of Kyle's book, Shifting into High Gear.
You gonna be nervous?
No, don't be nervous. I think I found two typos. No, I'm kidding. What an amazing book. What I think my favorite thing about the book is the personal connection. And that's probably true of a lot of people, but it's the first time reading a book that referenced people and places that I knew personally.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was cool. A lot of times you read a book and they talk about either people in their lives or other famous people, and that's all out of reach because you don't know them. It's not a personal thing. But reading your book, you know, whether it be the Ride in Vegas or talking about your Uncle Steve or whoever it may have been, mentioning names and places that I've been and that I can share in the journey with you, that was the coolest thing. And I think a lot of friends and listeners probably shared the same sentiment.
Yeah, and that's been a really fun thing for me, too. I mean, a lot of people know my story, but they don't know all these details, and a lot of people have remarked that they really appreciate knowing everything about what we did on that trip.
Yeah.
So.
I also like that it's fairly short. It's not an incredibly long book with a lot of detail. Even though it covers a really long trip and a little bit more than just that bike ride, it kept moving. So I appreciate that you're on pace to not only just talk about, it was another 7 miles today or 70 miles, whatever. It always, you found a way to tie it into the mentality of living life beyond their circumstance in a sense, or doing something for the greater good. So certainly an easy read that kept my attention, which I appreciated. And I don't think that was because I know you or I knew the story. I think it was because you and is it Alex?
Alex.
Just did a great job putting all the pieces together, and I really enjoyed the back and forth of staying on the journey, but also tying it into little things from your childhood or being on a trip with your grandparents or whatever it may have been. So, great piece of literary work.
Thank you. Yeah, no, all that credit has to go to Alex. He was the writer that I worked with on this book, Alex Schnitzler, and you know, one of the things that we kept saying over and over to each other is we want to keep this a fast-paced, like, fun read. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously we talk about a lot of stuff that's kind of hardcore. Like, there's lots of emotions and, like, thinking about the future and, rare disease, like life-changing things. But we wanted to keep it fast-paced and interesting. So thank you for saying that.
I think it was also kind of cool. This is where my ego comes in. Seeing my name in print, like it was kind of cool. Toward the end there, that was neat.
Awesome, man.
I do have a couple questions, and I'm willing to bet other readers are probably going to have similar questions.
Of course.
Okay, question number 1. The Queen of Walmart.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so talking about your mom, I forget what the material was, but the big copper or statue palm tree.
Yeah.
Does she still have that?
Yes, and that has been a question that other people have asked, and she's like, I need to take a picture of it and just post it to Facebook.
Yes,
so
she does.
See it.
Yes, she does. In fact, if she does, we'll be sure to share that on the Two Disabled Days Facebook as well.
Yeah,
okay.
No, it used to be on the wall in my brother's room, and then they moved. now it's in the backyard as like yard art or something in their backyard.
I love it. That's great. I will shout out to your dad. I think the actual one part where I actually chuckled out loud, and one of my favorite quotes from him is that narrow part of a road, I think Louisiana somewhere, I don't remember exactly where, but it was no shoulder, and he turned his mirror sideways and said, if it's my time, I don't want to see it coming, and you guys just went for it.
That's like an exact quote. Can you see my dad saying that?
Totally, 100%. So I laughed out loud at that point. And then my last question, mostly because I didn't write these down, so I'm sure I had more, but whatever happened to Marco?
That's a good question. So I don't know.
Oh, no. To this day? Like, do you stay in touch?
Well, I see him every once in a while on, like, Facebook. I don't exactly seek him out and try to, figure out what he's doing. Last I heard, actually, about his brother. His brother, like, did a trip all the way across Canada by himself or something. Wow. His brother also has FA. And they were on hand cycles together and stuff. And also, I need to admit, and I think I can, publicly, that his name is not Marco. I'm not going to say what his name is.
That's
but,
fair.
I think that story sort of revealed a part about him, maybe, that, I don't know, he might not be as proud of as other parts of him.
Sure.
However, it was really important, and for the book partly, but just to like understand how we react to disease and to challenges in our lives.
Sure.
And, in the book, I really related the way he was handling it to the way I was handling it at first too. And the big conflict was that we had ridden 2,000 miles. We had time to process how we fit in the community. At that point, the ride was not about me. It was not about my family. It was about the whole community, right? Mm-hmm. And he was just at a totally different place.
Yeah.
He was more like where I was at the beginning. So anyway, maybe it says all that in the book, but I certainly don't like hold a grudge against him.
Sure.
But I also didn't want to hold back on what I thought about what happened.
Sure, and I totally appreciated it because, like I said, that's a natural reaction at some point for many of us. So, like you, when I was reading it, I wasn't like, oh, what a, pill. Not at all.
Yeah.
He was just at a different stage in the process. And there's something very real about that and fair to talk about. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's good.
awesome.
So
And
for the go ahead.
I was gonna say, everyone who is listening and being like, "What are you guys talking about?" You're gonna have to read the book to find out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my plug here to wrap this up and move on. If you haven't yet, check out Kyle's book, Shifting into High Gear. You can get it on Amazon. You can find it linked in our Two Disabled Dudes shop. You can go to Kyle's website. You can get basically anywhere you would think you can find it. It's probably where you're going to find it. So order yours or go pick it up today. It's a great read.
Awesome, man. All right, so the next part of our show today is we wanted to talk about a few things that we've done this year, and these things are documented in photos. So we each chose 3 photos that have a decent story or something we wanted to talk about, and so we're going to share those with you. I mean, this is a podcast, so obviously you can't see the photos. We're going to post them, I believe, on the show notes, so you can see them there, but maybe at the moment we'll just do our best to describe what's going on in the photo and the story behind them. So, Sean, why don't you start with your first one?
Well, I think before I do that, to be fair, we chose 3 photos over the last 3 months.
Okay.
So
Yep.
these aren't like if we hung out last August and we got a picture and you're mad as to why that picture wasn't my top favorite or something with dialogue about. We just looked at, okay, we're 3 months into the year. Let's look at the last 3 months and choose a couple of photos that resonate with us or that are important to us. So with that in mind, my first photo comes from early January. In fact, I think it was January 1st, the first day of the year. I went out on a bike ride, and I live in California. Beautiful weather. It was nice and sunny. And the first picture pictures me on my trike, but it's from my angle, so I was riding by myself. So it just captures my cleats, my pedals, the bike trail, and the river, and the beautiful sky. And there's so much in this picture that I appreciate. It's not just a picture of me riding a bike. The reason I love the picture is there's so much gratitude wrapped around what you see. Not only the gratitude for the ability to still get out and power myself on a bicycle, but the gratitude for the weather and the beautiful area that I live in, and most importantly, the gratitude of where that trike came from, and even where the cleats came from. The cleats were a sponsored gift when we did RAM 9 years ago.
Yep.
And then the
Yep.
trike itself, obviously we've talked about it before, but incredible relationship and partnership with Cat Trek, based out of Florida. They make this beautiful machine, and I think we've talked about it once or twice on the podcast. But 2 years ago, Mark Eglin gifted this trike to me. He knew that I was at a place where I needed to transition, and to help make that transition a little more palpable, I guess, Mark said, "Hey, Sean, here's a bike. Get on and ride and
Get
push,
out there.
push the cause." So that picture just speaks volumes to who I am today and what's been available and what's helped me become who I am today. So love
Awesome.
that photo. Check it out.
Love it. Good stuff. All right, my first one is it actually took place in December. So I'm already violating the rules of this game, Sean. But right before we left for Australia last year, right before you and I took our trip to Australia, my parents came too, and my mom had been getting her nails done with the Ratataxia logo on one of her nails. And she was getting it done every single time she went to the nail salon. And so she's like, all right, this is fine, but I want something a little more permanent. So she got the Ride Ataxia logo tattooed on her wrist, like a little tattoo. And so she sent me that, and I freaked out. I was like, what? My mom doesn't have any tattoos.
Sure.
This is her first tattoo. And at the time, I didn't either. And so in December, for Christmas, I asked for my own tattoo. So I got a matching one. It's a little bit bigger. It's on my upper arm. And anyway, the photo that I chose is one of my mom and I showing off our matching tattoos.
Yes. I love it. It does look cool. And I remember actually when we headed off to our trip in Australia, I ran into your parents in the airport. We live close to the same town. Anyway, I didn't expect to see them until we got to Australia, but we were on the same flight from Sacramento to Los Angeles, so we all sat next to each other. And probably for the entire flight, which is about an hour, all your mom did was show me and talk about her nails.
Oh, her nails.
No,
nice.
That's not true, but she did show me. I remember seeing them. Very, very cool. And the tattoo looks fantastic on both of you guys.
Yeah.
So,
awesome. Thanks, man.
All right, so my next picture features, here we get some faces in this one. It's me and my best friend Armando, a really good friend of mine. Armando has shown up to movie screenings. He has shown up to run with Teen Determinants in our long distance runs. And over the years, Armando and I have just grown to be very close. Well, a big dream of his was to get into law enforcement. And although he's wanting to do a little bit of everything, a little while back he started pursuing corrections. So one of his dreams was to be a corrections officer and work in a prison. So this next picture features Armando and I at his graduation from the academy, the day he earned his badge. So that picture, obviously, I'm just super proud of him. And one of the reasons why I chose this and why I believe it fits into this podcast is to highlight the depth of community. Once again, we talk about it a lot, but part of what keeps us moving in the midst of challenge or depression or disease and disability are the people in our lives, like your mom. She might not get a tattoo because she loves you and she's, you're her son and she wants to support the overall mission in your life. Same idea here with Armando. He's somebody that no matter what, he'll show up. He'll help me move. He'll carry my coffee across the room if we're in the same area. He's just one of those pillars in my community that I really appreciate, and this picture captures him pursuing his dreams. So I'm super proud of him and proud to share that photo with y'all.
Yeah, and I love the photo too because it's just a picture of somebody achieving their dream, right? Mm-hmm. And that inspires anyone, I think. Anyone around them, they can, you see somebody accomplish something that they really, really wanted. You're like, oh, maybe I can do that too. Yeah. And I think that's something that we each can give to each other. And so, yeah, I like that one. Good stuff.
And I think just for the sake of conversation or knowledge, he actually got his dream post as well. He's currently at San Quentin. So a very, infamous prison here in California. It's California's only death row or only prison with death row. So that's where he is working, and he's super excited about this new chapter in his life. So,
where is San Quentin?
North Bay Area. So,
okay,
San Rafael-ish.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. All right. My next one is of a book signing I did at a local bike shop, and this bike shop. It was the first bike shop I visited in Pennsylvania, and it was, at the beginning of my cycling career, and they've just been really supportive, and they come out and support the ride every year. And the owner, Jenny, has become an incredible friend. All the other people at the shop, too, have become really great friends. So I did a book signing at Bike Sport in right near Collegeville in a town called Trapp. And it was really cool. So, it's just another example of community and the support that we have. So I'm really, really fond of that photo. I want to tell a story, though, related to that night that we did the screening. So there was this guy there that I didn't know, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, do you know where to get some food around here?" And I don't know that area all that well, but somebody else is there, and they're like, "Yeah, the Trapp Tavern right down the street." All right, cool. So he leaves, and I left 25, 30 minutes later. So I'm leaving, and I'm like, I need to get something to eat. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just go to the Trapp Tavern. And so I go park, I walk in. There's no seats anywhere, but there was a bar seat, that's a little bit higher. So I go there, and this guy that's sitting there helps me into my chair. Really nice guy. It's this total neighborhood bar. It's dark in there, and everyone there knows each other, because they're all regulars. Anyway, so I sit down at this stool at the bar, and the girl next to me goes, "Hey, how's your night going?" And I was like, "Oh, it's pretty good. I just went to a book signing. I just finished a book, and we did a signing." And she's like, "Seriously?" And the guy that had sat in that same exact chair right before me had my book in his hand. And was talking about how he just went to this book signing. He was all stoked and stuff. So the people at the bar were freaking out. They're like, "No way, that guy just sat there, same exact seat." But anyway,
that's crazy. That was kind of cool. Small world.
But yeah. Good book signing at Bike Sport.
I do want to ask about that city's name. If I were to see that on the map or my GPS, and it said Trapp, Pennsylvania, or Trapp anywhere, I think I would go around.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid I'd get stuck or something, it's a trap. Yeah. Don't go in there.
It's a good place. And it's spelled Trappe. So
okay, that's a little
better.
A little reassuring.
Awesome. Sean, so what's you have a third one, don't you?
My third final one, as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, I had gone on vacation not too long ago. And this picture is a selfie of me and my vacation partner. Her name is Sheila. She is an incredible woman that I have the privilege of working with on a regular basis in my day job. Sheila and I become friends over the years. She is one of the funniest human beings I have ever met. She just has such an outlook and a perspective on life that is similar to yours and mine. No matter what we're up against, there's always a reason to laugh and always a reason to continue moving forward in life. And she's funny in the process, so naturally gifted in making people laugh. I appreciate her humor. But what's really cool is she actually took me on vacation months and months ago. She, I don't know, she was moved or she had the idea and she called me up. She's like, "Sean, what do you think about going on a cruise?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I love cruises. Let's get a group together." And she goes, "No, what do you think about me taking you on a cruise?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" Wow. And then of course, I jokingly, I was like, "Well, I'm not really looking to date or anything." She was like, "Oh my gosh, stop." But you'll see in the picture our boat in the background, the cruise. We were hanging out at a beach resort all day and just a time of my life. being able to hang out with this good friend of mine, and I'm just so incredibly grateful, A, that she's in my life, and B, that she helped me enjoy a wonderful vacation. One thing I thought of during the vacation time is I don't do vacation very much. You know, I travel a lot for maybe Farah or the film or the podcast or things related to quote unquote work, even though it's not my day job like it is for you. When I, travel to the East Coast or Australia or all those different places, there's always an obligation. Of course, I love the trips and I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm so thankful that I get to do these things. But it's different when you have an obligation to either show up or smile or shake hands and be nice and whatever.
Yeah.
As opposed to not having to worry about a thing and kicking your feet up and having no obligation.
All about me. Yeah.
No schedule. Do whatever you want, whenever you want. And that was the first real, quote-unquote, vacation I had taken in years, and it just felt so good to unplug and to not have a schedule. Just kind of do whatever we wanted. So, great time, and she was an incredible friend to vacation with.
Awesome. Glad you had a great time.
I did. I'm hooked.
So,
I'm on another one next year. You want to go?
We'll see. Yeah, right. I'd love to.
All right.
I'm down.
All right, so your final picture.
Mine is a selfie, and I'm a big fan, and it's not me. It's somebody sent me this. But I'm a big fan of selfies with multiple people in them. And so but the real magic of this photo is it's three people that I really love, and they're holding my book and showing their appreciation for me. And, I think that one of the things with this book and this whole situation is, like, it's pretty overwhelming how much support I have from all the people in my life. And these three, the Walker family in Louisiana, Kate and Jason and Rachel, these three are just amazingly supportive. They took a really fun photo with all of them in the selfie with funny looks on their faces and holding my book. And so anyway, they are a representation of all the people that I am just so grateful for that have read the book and showed their appreciation.
Yeah, I love it. And I especially love Jason's eyes in this photo. Jason is such a cool dude. And if I remember correctly, he's like a teacher or administrator at a school.
Okay, and a coach.
Yeah. So, on one side, he can be very professional and steady. On another side, he's the biggest goofball that I've had, that we've been around. So I really appreciate this picture and his goofiness in it. And, of course, love Rachel and Kate. So it's a really cool photo. I agree. Well, you know what I love about all of these? It's about other people. And I really think that's the message of our podcast. Every day and today especially, it's the people in our lives help make life rich. And despite whatever we're up against, I believe that you and I and many of our friends and family live really rich lives because of each other. So I love seeing these pictures and talking about them because it's a reminder of we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for the people in our worlds.
Yep, I agree. And it helps remind us that, like, our physical abilities don't matter at all. At some level, it's about who you are. It's kind of what we were talking about with James last week. It's about your smile and the way you affect other people, the way you can make other people laugh, whatever it is. It's about who you are and not how well you perform and what you can do physically with your body. And I think these pictures are all a representation of that because, there's no huge physical feat in these, but in any of these photos, but they all show a connection between people.
Yep, I agree. These are great. So, of course, to our listeners, be sure to check them out. They might show up on social media, but for sure they're embedded in our show notes for this episode. We'd love it if you just take a look, give us a comment, maybe shoot us one or two of your favorites, tag us in one or two of yours, and share the love.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in today. I think it's it, huh, Kyle? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we nailed it.
All right.
Nailed it.
All right, we will chat with you soon. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast.
Find us online at twodisableddudes.com and please subscribe on the iTunes. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And special thanks to our audio producer, Jake Tompkins.
Until next time, keep living with urgency.